say it's not a spy shot we get usually because obviously spy shots are normally of exteriors of cars, sometimes of interiors and dashes, but hardly ever, at least that I can think of, have spy photographers gone to so much trouble to get a gear shift. But we really have never had any interesting gear shifters come out, unless you count the one in the BMW X5, the new one that looks like a cell phone, but that one looks like total crap to use. This one, however, looks like it is straight out of Star Trek. I mean, it is not your daddy's little stick shift. And if I can describe it to people, it is, if you think of the center console in between the two seats, and the spy shot was taken in a Jaguar XKR coupe, it's completely flat. And when you turn the car on, there's a ring in this center console, and there are concentric rings around this kind of center ring. And those outer ones fall down. They retreat away, which kind of leaves a dial under your palm, and you turn the dial, it looks like, to select park, reverse, neutral, drive, or whatever. And then there are flush buttons all around it, too, for traction control, and
sport mode, stuff like that.
Sport mode, stuff like that. Yeah. So, KGP Photography was the spy photographers that finally got it. They had been trying to get it for like a week, because this is something that they suspect will be in every Jaguar not too long from now. And it debuted in the CXF concept that is going to become the XF production sedan. But it debuted in the concept, and this is totally one of those instances where you see a concept and you see its interior and it's all funky and futuristic, and you say,
no way
that's ever going to happen. Right. And this is actually something that's going to happen. My question,
where
though,
did the term
is,
Jaguar drive come from, by the way?
I don't know, but it's stupid. It's a dumb name.
Yeah, it really is. That's one of the reasons I was asking.
Thank God for the marketing people.
Yeah. Oh, and Jaguar's marketing people have done a great job so far. Great track record. My question is, considering Jaguar is in such a sorry state, it does have at least one good product now and a promising product in the near future. The good product being the XK Coupe and the promising product being the XF sedan.
Mm.
Is this something that's just total eye candy, or is this something that can attract people to actually buy a Jaguar over a BMW?
No way. It's not. That's not going to be the deal maker. I mean, it's like, come on. At the end of the day, it's just the shifter for the automatic transmission.
Right. I mean, I think, in my opinion, this is actually risky, because it reminds me of BMW going out on a ledge and saying, hey, let's try the iDrive and be all different in our interface. And over the years, dashes and stick shifts, all of those have become very similar. I mean, back in the 50s and 60s, you used to have like telephone push buttons for drive on the steering wheel, and they had every different kind of input and interface and under the sun. Nowadays, it's all the same, because you know what? It works. Evolution has weeded out that crap, and we've got the center column, center mounted shifter, or the column mounted shifter, and that's what it is. This, to me, I'm going to say it looks cool. I don't think it's going to be an iDrive, because it looks like it's a little bit more intuitive and simple than that. Mm-hmm. But I still think it's kind of stupid to just risk going out there and trying something like this, because I bet you $1 million that BMW has lost sales because of the negative press over the iDrive. Maybe not a lot. I'm just saying that it hasn't helped.
Well, see, my biggest concern with a system like this is mainly just the fact that what happens 3 years down the road when, something jams on that, or, one of the reasons that, like you're saying, the shifters we've seen for the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years have all been the same, is because, like you said, they work. I mean, making something complex and neat-looking just to make it complex and neat-looking really doesn't serve the greater good. And like I said, my biggest concern is, like I said, when stuff has to be replaced, obviously that's going to be a big issue. Maybe they don't.
Yeah, but these are all electronics, though.
Yeah, I have no problem.
It's not like
can you imagine how much that console is going to cost, though?
Sure. Well, no, but it looks like it's just. It looks like the entire piece it looks like the entire piece just comes out like the Jaguar drive, thingy. We'll use the technical term for it. It looks like it's just it's just a rectangular, insert that drops into the center, into the tunnel there.
So maybe like a normal transmission lever might be fitted there, and this is an option?
Oh, yeah. I would definitely say that at the beginning. I think this was.
Well, I'm not so sure that it would be. You think it would be an option? I mean, because Jaguar is going to go for something big with the XF, so I could see this being part of the big whole. Look at this is our new high tech, XF. This is not the old Jaguar. This is very different from what you've expected from us in the past, and part of that is this trick new, Jaguar thing.
I think there's a shot that this could be an option. Because I think it's a huge risk to potentially alienate a bunch of people.
I don't see the risk, honestly.
Well, at this point, what does Jaguar have to lose? I mean, it's on the brink of death every moment.
Yeah, but I mean, really, but where is it risk? I mean, people are accustomed to seeing new and different crap in their cars now. Anyway, ever since BMW, got the ball rolling with iDrive, I mean, everybody, seemingly has some sort of GUI, at least with the luxury automakers. And that
would be graphical user interface?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Audi MMI is better than iDrive, by the way, just so you know. I mean...
Well, I mean, quite frankly, I think, and I've said this before, that I think Lincoln and Ford has nailed it with whatever supplier they have for their navigation systems that are all touchscreen based. They don't try to do too much, meaning that they leave the manual controls for the HVAC and all that there if you want them.
Yeah.
It's BMW and Mercedes and Lexus overreaching and trying to stuff every little thing into a 7-inch screen.
The HVAC controls on these systems.
They don't belong on a screen.
Ridiculous.
They belong on a dial, on a
awful.
tactile dial. So let's move on to the next spy pick too, because I don't want to linger on a gear shift.
Oh, it's much more entertaining. Yeah.
We just did linger on the gears. No.
Yeah, I know. Let's talk about the spy shots of the 2009 Cadillac CTS-V,
which is like 1,000 times cooler than the Jaguar Drive.
Yeah. This is quite frankly, it's pimp. It is. I mean, I love the new CTS design. I think it's an outstanding evolution of the kind of awkward design of the current CTS. And I don't mean, I know awkward sounds bad. I think that the current CTS looked great when it came out, but I think it's aged and it's time to move on. So the new CTS that we saw in Detroit was just knocked our socks off.
It's a much more complete car.
You take the CTS-V, meaning the high-performance version, it's got very subtle fender flares over extremely wide tires, wide wheels. A deep chin spoiler. The grille has been, the very cool, detailed new Cadillac grille has been taken out and to be replaced by mesh, it appears, which I actually don't like. I like the new Cadillac grille a lot.
But the mesh is the V-Series thing, so...
Yeah,
that's
I know, it's like the mark. I still like the other grille better, but that's me. And then there's a giant bulge in the hood. And when there's a bulge in the hood, you know what's underneath. That kind of sounded bad, but anyway.
Nice.
When we're talking about cars, it means that there's a supercharger underneath. And in this case, it has the new, what's the code name for the engine? The LSA motor, which is the new V8 small block for GM that will be supercharged to at least 500 horsepower, probably 515 to 525 horsepower, because they want to make absolutely sure this thing will toast a BMW M5, which, by all accounts, it appears it will. I think what GM is probably most worried about are all the quirky problems that they had with the current generation CTS-V.
Such as?
Well, I've known more than one documented case of them acting completely psychotic and just, stalling, not running.
Like that video that we had.
Like that video we posted.
Yeah, it was not an isolated incident then.
Yeah, there's also a lot of axle hop, just because the power was overwhelming for the rear axle, which they've said they've completely taken care of in this new version. So I'm extremely interested to see what it looks like with the camo off. I think it's going to look hella mean. But aside from that, you've got the new CTS, which I think is safe to say, from what we know at this point, probably the first true, honest-to-goodness, world-class car GM has ever built. And then you're taking it and jacking it up to, 13 tenths, which, pretty awesome.